It's 6 minutes past 7. Now, let's talk money, more precisely, the budget for the Police and Crime Commissioner. Cambridgeshire's new Police and Crime panel will decide today whether to approve the county's new Police Commissioner Deputy. Sir Graham Bright wants to appoint Brian Ashton as his second-in-command on a salary of £28,000 a year for 2 days a week of work. Recently, Sir Graham spoke to our Drive Time presenter Chris Mann and explained why the role justifies that salary.
If you look at the previous committee, it was costing us a lot more than that. It was well over 200,000. So we're actually making savings because there's the two of us rather than a committee.
I'm not looking at the committee, I'm just looking at paying...
Well, I'm looking at the committee because the committee was costing over £200,000.
But you were supposed to be starting afresh here, and this is somebody in public service 2 days a week. You think that justifies £28,000 a year?
It's a pro rata as far as salary that I was set by the government, and it's a pro rata basis, and I think that's fair.
Well, when the role was announced, David Cameron claimed it would only cost around 80% of what had been spent previously with the police authority. But Sir Graham Bright has claimed his office will cost the taxpayer 5 to 10% less than the old police authority. But many of the costings of his new office still haven't been worked out, so how can he know what his total spending will be? Well, we'll find out from him after 8. Well, let's speak to Richard Taylor now. He's a blogger in Cambridge who writes on all things police and crime commissioner related. Morning.
Good morning, Paul.
So he's worked out he's going to make savings, but he doesn't quite know what his budget is.
Well, this £200,000 or so that he's talking about, that's not the full cost to the police authority. That's the members' expenses and allowances. Now, I would have expected that saving should have just been banked. It should have been assumed that money is money which taxpayer is no longer going to have to pay out. But instead, it looks like Graham Bright has assumed that this is sort of free money, it's a pot of gold for him to spend as he likes. Now, I think it was really clear that the Prime Minister and others said that when we've got a Police and Crime Commissioner, there are going to be savings made by getting rid of the police authority. And what I took from that was that the members' expenses and allowances, well, they're not going to be paid anymore, and that will just be a saving. So, and that would be an over a 20% cut compared to what the police authority was costing us in the past. So, for the police commissioner to come along and say that, well, he's going to be costing 95% of what the police authority cost us, it's an astronomical cost in my view.
Yeah, he's still going to be saving his money, he claims, though.
Well, it's a tiny saving compared to what I would have expected. I would have expected that £200,000 to have been banked as a saving, and then for him to go on and make further savings from there. And I think what we've got to remember is that there's just one pot of money here for funding policing, and it's up to Graham Bright as the commissioner how much he spends appointing his friends, deputy, and how much he spends on his office, and every penny he spends on that kind of thing is not going to frontline policing.
No, we rang his office yesterday, and his own staff say he doesn't know how much his office space will cost. He doesn't know how much some of his other employees will cost, and not sure what the overall budget is. I mean, do you know what the money is, and is he in control of the previous budget? Has he got this pot? Is he the man to decide how it's spent?
Well, certainly he's got. He can choose how to spend the entire policing budget. He decides how much he puts to his office and his staff and how much goes on policing. So he's got enormous power here and power of patronage as well to appoint who he likes as his deputy. So yeah, we've given him a huge amount of power to decide what to do.
Can he work out whether he's making a saving or not?
Well, I asked him before the election because I thought that I and the people of Cambridge should know in advance of the election what he was planning. I asked him how much he would be saving and how this would balance. Like if he's going to be paying his own salary, a hefty salary for a deputy, he's announced 2 new positions, a field officer in Cambridge and a field officer in Peterborough. So, and he inherited 10 staff from the police authority. So how are we going to have all these extra staff? And how is he going to save money? And I would have hoping that he'd be saving a substantial amount of money. Now, we don't, and he said on the Drive Time show last week that he doesn't know yet what he's going to be doing and what his deputy is going to be doing. So I think it's very premature to go to the Police and Crime panel later on today and asking to appoint his friend Brian Ashton as deputy on £28,000 for 2 days a week before he's really got an idea of what they'll be doing, particularly as he didn't tell us in the run-up to the election that he was planning to have a deputy at all, much less appoint his friend Brian. So I'm not very impressed at the moment.
What's the one question you'd like to ask him after 8 o'clock? Because I know you two don't don't speak much.
Well, I've asked him what I think are some very sensible questions, and he's not been responding to me. So, I think you've chosen a really good topic for today, which is budget. Why is he not banking that saving of £200,000 or so, which went on the members' expenses and allowances of the police authority, and why is he? Well, he doesn't yet know that he needs this deputy or what he wants him to do. So why is he going to the police and crime panel today asking them to approve the appointment? Really, he needs to wait and find out and come up with a decent job description. And why does this office need to be staffed so much more than an MP's office, for example? We don't even yet know how much demand the public is going to be putting on him in terms of casework or correspondence. It may well be in a year or so's time he can make a very good case for needing so many staff, but at the moment he can't, because he doesn't yet know, and of course he didn't put this to the public in his manifesto before he got the job.
Richard, we shall put your questions to him along with a few of ours after 8 o'clock this morning. Thank you for that. Richard Taylor, a blogger in Cambridge who blogs on policing and a lot of other things as well, but in particular the Police and Crime Commissioner role as well. And if you've got any questions for Sir Graham Bright, who's going to be on the show after 8 this morning, please put them to us by text, by phone. And Robin says, Paul, is this specialist programming catering for the 15% who voted for him?
It's Paul Stainton and his Bigger Breakfast Show
on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
Actually, it wasn't 15% that voted for him, was it? It was 15% that voted in total. I think about 5% voted for Sir Graham Bright. 13 minutes past 7. More on that to